Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a fresh new episode of Missin Curfew. I'm Shane O'Brien, as always, coming to you from Action Park Media Studios in Beverly Hills with my right-hand man, William Scotty Upshaw.
Fresh off a nice ride up the 405 with you, fella.
Fella, that is a fucking nice-looking jacket you got on there.
I'm feeling good. It feels like a Friday for me here.
That's a National Leaguer jacket.
I used to wear this in Hollywood, but
You used to rock that at Hyde a few times, didn't you?
sure did.
Captain Connolly, as always, in the booth.
What's up, fellas? Good to see you. Everybody looking good, getting ready for the holidays. What's up, Broadway?
Holiday CONZ.
Broadway, Jimmy Scoop Hayes with the gear on, with the merch. What's up, baby?
Oh, yeah. Broadway's been having some all-pro days here in Boston. I got back on the ice with all the local guys skating here. And, I appreciate a defenseman because today we were light on the defenseman, so I took a couple reps. These guys can fucking fly. I don't know how you control a gap with those guys.
I mean,
it's impressive how you can do it, Opes.
Yeah, my gap control was never one of my strong points to begin with in the National Hockey League. But nowadays, my gap control, I would be just holding the dots, being like, eventually they have to come this way. But as a defenseman, every coach would say, work on your fucking gap control. And as a forward, you realize it's not that fucking easy, is it, Broadway?
No, it's not. And then when defending a 2-on-1, Opes, are you taking shooter? Are you giving that to the goalie? Like, that's a tough play. I was going long body a lot, but a couple sauces almost took my teeth out, so I stopped going.
I can call this 100% he lets the fucking shot come. You're always looking at that pass.
I'm going fucking taking away the far post. The goalie's making 8 bananas. Hazy if they score. Short side on Roberto Luongo. That's Bobby Lou's fault, not mine.
That's
you
on
always
him,
take
baby.
the fuck. I remember real quick story. Bob Hartley, I fucking hate, as you boys know. He's like, you have to slide on 2-on-1s. You have to slide. So it'd be
Gotta slide, Six.
You gotta slide. So it'd be fucking 9:30 at the Saddle Dome. It's freezing fucking cold. First drill, we're doing 2-on-1s, and all our D-men are sliding on these fucking 2-on-1s. I'm like, this is not fucking National League. I'm going to Geo and Wideman. I'm like, boys, I get it. In a game we slide at 9:30 in the morning at the Saddle Dome, let's just let the boys feel the puck a bit here.
I don't know if that's ever been a thing. I don't ever remember a D coach telling their guys to slide. But now that I think about it, that Giordano's down on his fucking belly the whole game.
The whole time. Like, they Bob
that
Hartley,
the play?
you had to do it under Bob Hartley.
I'd fucking give the shimmy shake. A guy goes down too early.
Yeah,
You
that's
pull
the
it, you
best stuff.
fucking pull it back into your feet and then just rip one high titty.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I used to say, like, because I was playing against the third and fourth line, so I'm like, for me, it's probably a good idea, but if you slide too early on Sid the Kid or Scotty Upshaw, he'll fucking toe drag. Or the tallest Broadway Jimmy Hayes.
Oh, that thing is dangerous.
Hazy, hats off to you for fucking skating right now. Actually,
I was gonna say, did you skate today,
crazy.
Broadway?
Yeah, I skated this morning. I skated yesterday, twice last week. I'm out there. I'm flying. Last week was actually hilarious. It was my first skate. My brother's like, I'm going to ISO cam you the whole time. First drill to 2-on-1. I'm nervous. Backdoor sauce tapping. Everyone goes nuts on the ice. I was like, fuck, Hazy still got it.
Listen, maybe a comeback is in the works.
Hazy, how many guys need to get COVID this year for you to make a comeback?
I think if the Bruins were looking at it, I think the whole AHL team would have to hit with the COVID and never get a chance.
Well, totally. If you're playing in any of these like little the cities where they're gonna fucking dice up, or they're gonna play in whatever, and you're just this call-in guy, you've been skating
Veteran
with the
presence.
boys, fucking your elbows are high, your stick's high, you're ready to fucking go. I mean, that's
And I'm tipping the scale like I was in Florida. I was like, I'm 240 right now. Like when I was at Boston, I was like 211. So I'm a heavy body right now. I don't know if the speed's there, but the corner protection's there.
How are the fucking groins and hip flexors? Are they barking or what? Because, geez.
Last week, it was a solid 3 days of recovery on those hip flexors. Those things were killing me. I felt like I played a back-to-back-to-back game.
me and Obes are stepping on the ice tomorrow. Actually,
Wait a second. Why?
we are fucking
great
going
question,
out.
Cons.
You look
It is-
pumped, Obes.
it
I'm
is
not
a-
exactly fired up about
Is
it.
it for
is a
charity or something?
content day tomorrow.
We are shooting some content for Missin Curfew merch. Obviously, Hazy, you're on the East Coast. You can't join us. So I think we're going to bring Flowers out. Maybe I'm going to rough him up if he comes out.
So this just all.
I'd be happy to stand behind the bench and draw up a few plays like we did in that charity game.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's funny you say that, Cons, because we can't quite mention it yet, but we had a conversation, me and Uppy, on the way up about something that we want to do in the new year, and it involves you behind the bench again. We'll leave it at that. But
So this just all fell in our lap. One of our good friends, Todd Pickup, he big hotel.
yeah, Pickup. He's
hotel
a beauty.
guy. So the Paseo Hotel in Huntington Beach has built an outdoor rink pretty much right fucking on the sand, like right on the Pacific Coast Highway, right on the sand. So
Yeah.
we
it's
should have a charity game.
It's small though. It's fucking not too much bigger than this room. I don't know. Is it?
See,
Ovi?
that's why he's our that's why he's our coach, because he's on the same fucking page. Hey, Hazy, this ice sheet, if this was real life, I could play fucking for 30 years. It's just the size. It's the size of the studio. It's just
you can't do that.
Listen, we are
just
gonna go out there tomorrow. And we're gonna fucking kick the shit out of Flowers.
So
That's our plan.
Yeah, it's cool. It's right on the PCH in Huntington, so you're overlooking the ocean with the palm trees. We're going to get out there and see if we can, get some content for our merchandise and see if we can still maybe make a tape to tape.
But what do you think about bring Broadway out? What do you think about a charity game? What if you guys challenge like Stoley and a few of those guys?
It's funny you said that because should we say it right now?
Yes.
I know. We got this in the books.
We were
cons. It's off air though. We got to go off air.
All right, we'll go off air with it.
Or we go on air. Okay.
Do you want to say it right
on
now?
3? We want to challenge. Who do we want to fucking challenge?
Spit and Chicklets. Do a
Fuck
fucking
them. Let's
pickup
go.
charity game, boys.
We
That's
want to
what we
fucking.
You guys will
want.
get
Hey, Whit.
crushed. won't you?
Hey, Biz.
Biz.
Hey,
win.
RA. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go,
That's
boys.
hilarious.
Missin Curfew versus Spit and Chicklets.
I mean,
Kevin Connolly behind the bench and Missin Curfew. Let's fucking rock.
And then we get to pick like 7 other either ex or current players.
Depending on the time, if it's in the summer, of course, we can get current players.
I
If it's in the
think you
winter,
get
only
not
ex-
current players. I think
Non-current.
Biz and I think we got to grab Stoley on our squad.
Stoley's
before
on our
Biz gets
squad.
his hands on him.
Stoley's on our squad, 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
We could get a hell of a lot of players. The Spin Chicklets get some players in Boston, but I still think we'd fucking kill them, to be honest.
Well, it's going to be
I don't know. Witt's
Hazy.
good, right?
Fuck that. We're going to kill him.
It's
That's
going to be
right.
Kill him.
It would be a
I'm spotting him
spirited
3
battle.
goals right now. That would be the
not
line.
only that, but
Plus
Broadway is
3.5.
actively skating. He's the most active player. He's our game 1 starter.
He's our ace in the hole, fucking Jimmy Scoops. Stay off. Hey, Scoops.
Keep
stay off,
skating,
Stay off
Scoopsy.
the sauce, buddy. Stay off the sauce.
Actually, there's no drug testing, right? Fuck, no drug testing. Okay, keep on the sauce.
Who else could possibly play? Because I don't think you want to do.
Well,
I don't
we
think
got
you want to do players.
We got Lupul, Kanopka, Peranto, Penner, Stoll.
I like that team. Right
Sheldon
there.
Surrey. We got. I'm going out and saying we'll bring Russ Cordell out of the fucking
Who,
archives.
yeah,
who do we
Rusty's
put in
coming.
the net for that?
I said our boy Mac L, Andy McLaughlin, but
But by
Oh,
the
that's
time,
a great goal. He stoned me in a charity game. I think that was my last goal in Boston. I didn't score after that fucking save he made on me.
we got Mike Richards, Daniel
Fucking
Carcillo.
Richards ain't coming out of retirement.
Richards is coming down for him. He's coming down.
By the way,
we'll
this
ask
is,
him today.
We'll ask
By the
him
way,
today.
it would be a great idea, and I bet you we could raise a shit ton of money.
And that
for
was the thing
charity.
too, Kev.
A shit ton of money.
Yeah, a lot of
100%.
money for charity, and it would just be fun, and it'd be fun to sit in the dressing room with you boys again. And fucking,
That's the best part of the whole skate and the banter in the locker room. We hot stove it for like 20 minutes after the skate every day.
you get that suit and tie ready to fucking rock, Connolly. All right, we need
'Cause
you.
I got robbed last time. We had a bad payroll.
Wow, we were
that was during
undermanned,
the lockout,
underpaid.
right? That was during the lockout. Cons was the coach.
Yeah, anytime me and Richardson were your best players, you're probably not going to win that game.
Hey, Broadway, you know Matt Molson, right?
Yep.
So Matt Molson was on the team, and these guys think I'm being favorable to him because he's on the Islanders.
He's turning pucks over and shit. I'm looking at Connolly.
Any
like,
other coach would have benched him already.
Right. I'm all Opie's like, hey, Cons, I think it's time to shorten the bench. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I said, hey,
You
quit
just gave him a
playing,
long leash, eh, Cons?
quit playing the guy in the Islanders gear. He's fucking costing us here. I was
like,
put-
look, we're out here. Let's try to win this fucking thing. We're out here anyway.
I almost had
We got killed.
I almost had a jammer. I'm playing forward on Richardson's line. I'm like, Cons, put me with Richardson. I've got the furnace face going. I'm going like I'm
You
trying,
played your guts
I'm
out.
trying as hard as I could to win. I scored a goal. Richie scored a goal, but we came up short.
That's an all beauty team right there.
Fucking Sheldon Surrey, fucking they had a bunch of guys. I can't
was a
remember.
ridiculous
Dustin
team.
Brown, Kopitar. I'm like, these payrolls don't really add up here. Like,
So are you guys officially challenging Spit and Chicklets?
Well, I guess so
To,
now.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
check
it's
it.
just
It-
funny
it-
that we
It was
talked
an
about
idea
It was
this
an
morning,
idea
and
this
now we're
morning,
full
but-
on challenging me over air. I
Yeah.
love it.
I think for charity, it'd be great. It'd be fun, and fuck, it'd be fun to get. I
I don't know. Witt's pretty good still, probably, right?
I'll
Nah,
go right.
he's a
I'll go
golfer
right
now.
I
now.
don't know how those ankles are holding up for Witt. I'm not sure how many shifts he's going to take.
Do we go full gear or just
Full
half
gear.
Full gear?
No
Fuck.
shoulder
All
pads.
right.
No shoulder pads.
shouldies.
Full-
I don't want to wear
We'll
shoulders.
get nice Missin Curfew.
When I retired, I
fucking-
said I'm never wearing shoulder pads again.
no,
Not a chance.
No shoulders. No shoulders, no visors. Let's just go
Right,
out
and
there and
also
play.
too, I mean, like obviously no hitting, right? Like,
Well, you can rub a guy out.
light hit.
I ain't wearing a bucket in warm-ups,
You can-
so
no, yeah, we have a nice. We gotta have a warm up, so go out there, get the hair flowing.
I'm going to get a fresh haircut for that game.
Even though this guy on Instagram absolutely ripped me up this week, boys. Told me I put Dippy Dew in my hair. Told me I was a fucking phony.
Pigeon.
Oh, a cup of coffee in the NHL. I don't know who he was. I said, buddy, it's
500 games is a cup of coffee now?
I messaged him. It's tea tree shaping cream I put in there. You might want to fucking check it out. So
I think your hair looks good, bro.
Gel haters, CONZ, as you would say, but I blocked him, so he must have hurt me a bit because I did block him from missing curfew. Suck it, bud.
Boys, I'm back drinking beer here in the morning. Feels good.
What are those?
I have
looks
no
like
idea.
Orange juice.
They're called something. It says good beer every time.
So people send stuff to the studio. That's not an ad read. That's actually a free ad read.
No, I never mentioned the name. It's not that good.
By the way, plug his beer and maybe they end up buying. But that guy's a big time director.
We'll plug it then. It's the original.
Oh yeah, M
special.
M special.
M special. Brewed in California American lager. How is it, Ups?
Oh, it's fucking delicious.
How many could you drink? Could you drink it?
This is not an official ad read. Just want to put that out there.
Could you drink a dozen of them?
Well, I'm on my way. We got a big day here, so.
That was awesome. So, Spin Chicklets, boys, something to talk about. Get in touch with our Captain Collie. Maybe
For
we can
charity.
Charity pickup game. What a fucking shaker that would be after.
That would be a hell of a shaker.
We got to do something here real quick for one of our really good buddies who has been a great friend of the pod, Javi Colombi. Is that how you say his last name? I don't know. Javier. He's done a great job, and he's got these golf balls that we use, Cut Golf Up. He just touched on them a bit for our listeners. There's guys up there that don't want to pay $6 a ball for Pro Vs. These Cut golf balls, they're pretty legit.
They're nasty. If you don't mind a soft touch around the greens and a little distance off the tee, but you don't want to spend the $20 on a dozen of ball or a 3-pack of Pro Vs.
Nothing worse than putting a Pro V in the water.
Well, I like to throw them up and whack them with my putter. So
yeah, you're good at that.
If you're that type of guy, when you 3-putt, these might be your balls. But yeah, Cut golf balls. I know it's the holidays, and a lot of guys may be looking for some stocking stuffers. So we're doing him a big fave. He's created our logo. He's did our website. He's a great dude, and yeah, we're gonna pump that up for him.
And touch on that. You maybe be able to get some Cut golf balls with the Missin Curfew logo on that. Is that true?
Yeah, I think he's gonna do that up.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a Pro V, just half the price. All the you can fucking pink.
He's got all kinds of different
colors. Get some for your ladies.
Yeah.
Cut
Uppy,
golf
can you
balls.
pound these balls off the tee? Are these things traveling?
I pound any ball off the tee, Hazy.
You pound anything in general.
Asshole, I'm putting this ball places no one's been at Big Canyon.
He's hitting it farther than I've ever remembered. Wow. And I think it has to do a little bit with, because you're not playing hockey anymore. You're not training in the off season. You're freaking lean and mean, and you're just getting your hips through. Shakira, the hips don't lie. And you're fucking hitting it places. I'm like, I see it, and I'm a bunter. I hit it like 275, maybe if I get it. And Uppy's hitting it Broadway like 340. I'm not even lying.
Come on.
I'm not lying, CONZ.
340?
340.
That's getting the hips there.
Yeah, it's up there.
I'll tell you what, he can't fucking chip. Same as like, if you want to win some money off Uppy,
with
go to
those
chip
soft hands, Uppy, that's
I
shocking.
know. I don't know what it is. I got the tiger yips.
No, but remember you had that little Arnie Palmer little shot you had.
Yeah, you love it. Every time I hit it, Obi gets hard. Yeah. It's great.
So Cut golf balls. Check him out. Javi and his company is Scout_there. They put our website together.
Yeah, he's a web design guy.
He's a web design guy. He loves the golf. He loves the booze.
Enough stroking on.
You should have him send some balls to the Action Park office. We can see how they travel at Mountain Gate.
They're a perfect ball. It'll be good in that.
CONZ, you can hit these
on
things.
Those tough greens for sure.
You can hit these things, CONZ.
Thanks.
We'll do a couple giveaways too on our Instagram. Follow us with a friend. We'll give you fucking a bunch of golf balls.
Yeah. Fucking, they're good balls. I've used them. They're good. I mean, you can lose them like any other one, so it doesn't really matter. So, but one real thing I want to touch on with our Captain Connolly in the booth last week, Hazy, from your neck of the woods, we were talking about Nesson, the Nesson girls, how they worked their way up the proper way from Nesson to ESPN. Well, I'm not going to mention any names, but we had a fellow Boston, Massachusetts guy slide into our DMs and mentioned that, said, "Hey, Obi, you were right. 2 players that I will not name, of course, because that's not our way, have been known for the last couple of years of pounding the Nessons girls, and that's what cost them their job." So, Kevin, I just want to let you know, in the National League, stuff like that does happen.
All right. I mean, I have to take. If you heard it on Instagram, it's got to be true.
So there's a couple young Boston Bruins just throwing it around.
There's a couple of guys, I guess, that were taking a couple runs at the Nesson girls. And
yeah, I've heard rumors of a couple guys, but I wanted to give the girls a benefit of the doubt. But now that it's out there, I didn't think they get fired over it, but
Well, I mean,
Well,
listen,
they got fired up. They went to ESPN.
and listen, by the way, there's nothing
yeah, I
wrong.
thought they were just graduating.
There's nothing wrong with it. Like, unless maybe the player's married, then there's something wrong with it. But if it's a single guy and she's a single girl, like, who cares if she covers the team? What's the problem? I never understood that through the course of my career. That hey, you shouldn't try to hook up with the Sportsnet girl. Or the ice girls, yeah.
Well, is there a team, or is there usually team rules against that sort of stuff, or is it more for them?
If there were rules for that, they were definitely broken during my tenure.
No, well, they honestly they frown upon it, right?
They frown upon
and with the ice girls, they tell you, hey, stay away from the ice girls. But
You really need to be near the ice girls.
as a single guy, I was trying to get with the ice girls. I'm not gonna lie, like it's just that's the
Like
way it was.
opposing ice girls or like home ice girls?
Well, the home ice girls, and then if I could get at the Dallas Stars ice girls, I would have tried.
Dallas.
I knew you were going to say
They
had
Dallas.
the
I
fun-
knew
Why
it.
does Dallas Stars have good ice girls?
The hottest ones, and they sat right where you came out, CONZ. So you walk by them every period. You're like, Jesus, like
They be stretching and stuff as you go out.
Yeah.
You're just like,
I knew what they were doing.
focus.
Chicago
focus.
had some great ice girls too.
yeah.
Nashville was the best. When I first jumped in as a national leaguer, these fucking girls, our assistant coach at the time, I won't mention his names, but you had him too, a D coach. Yeah, he loved the fucking girls. And he heard at one point, like Leg One back in the day used to have some team parties and they'd all come over there. And he heard that I had hooked up with one or whatever, and he'd always just want to like hear about it.
Yeah.
So shout out to that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a single guy and the girls, like, they want to hang out. I never thought there was anything wrong with it. And obviously, I'm not saying these nesting girls don't work hard. So if I offended anyone out there, I apologize. But I'm just telling you, these girls, the boys, they take a runs at them and they're all having fun. That's all my point was, Broadway.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what, like you said, if they're single and they're both single, what's the big deal?
Yeah, everyone have a little fun on the road, right?
I mean, it gets cold in Boston.
And
in the
those
fucking
lonely
wintertime,
nights
man.
in Calgary,
cuddle up.
maybe. Or,
And if it came from a DM from a stranger on Instagram, it's got to be true.
Gotta
It's
be
got
true.
to
Gotta
be
be
true.
true.
It's got to be true. Boys, into some hockey stuff real quick. I wanted to get your guys' opinion. Apparently, they're starting January 13th.
Irish cricket.
Oh, yeah. If
That's
you're
going
an
to happen. Sorry, but
Yeah.
that's going to happen a few times during this show.
yeah,
Yeah,
if you're
number 2, and we're like 6 minutes in. I'm impressed, Uppy.
if you're an RFA right now, Hazy, are you just taking a 1-year deal, or what do you think your agent's talking? In my opinion, I'll go first. If I'm an RFA right now, I'm just taking a 1-year deal this year to see what happens. What would you think's going to happen, or what would you do?
I think it's all age dependent. So like some of those guys that are 24, 25, they sign the 1-year deal. They're still restricted after it. But if you're 26 and you're going to get to that 27 to get the UFA, then I definitely take a 1-year deal just to hopefully be able to cash in on my UFA deal the next year.
Dog, if you're a UFA right now, and obviously great point, if you're 1 year into a UFA, but I'm talking about these guys that if they sign 1 year, they're still RFAs the next year. Are you still trying to get a long-term deal, or are you waiting to see what happens in this
I'd be
crazy
playing
world?
the field, Obi.
Yeah.
I'd be sitting back going, who wants me for this year? I'll come in and pump 20 in the back of the net.
Yeah, bet on yourself.
Give you a good playoff
Yeah,
run.
you got to gamble on yourself like my little brother did. Got
And then when
paid.
this thing gets sorted out and things get back to normal, then you find where you want to be for long term and you set up shop there. But yeah, if you're in shape and you're working hard and you feel like you're going to go give it your best this year, you take that 1-year deal.
I agree. Captain Colin, I got something for you. Mike Hoffman, who was crazy, didn't sign, but obviously for reasons. There's rumors that Long Island is a fit. Uppy, Broadway, jump in if you want. CONZ, that's a no-brainer if that can happen. You might want to get on the phone with Lou or whoever, answer your phone call and tell him to get
Listen,
that done.
now that I'm like, you could argue that I'm media. Now I really have no access.
Yeah,
now
Lou
nobody
hates the
really
media.
wants to tell me anything. But yeah, like, listen, for a 1-year deal, why not? See how it works out. You can never go wrong with a 1-year deal, but everybody wins on that, assuming that everybody stays healthy, right?
Yeah, and for me, with Hoffman, not just because I love you, CONZ, and I love Trotsy, but that seems like a good fit. Obviously Barcel's still not signed, but they had a hard time scoring goals, right? They need a sniper. Not a hard time, but they don't
Well,
have
that JG Peugeot
Yeah, but
is good.
if
They
you can
could
put
use
Hoffman
another.
in there.
He's in front of the net. You got Pollock just feeding him one tease.
Yeah.
Someone just got to feed this kid one time.
Yeah.
That's his spot. We've said it before. The Brandon Peary fucking
Brandon
S1,
Peary spot.
1T.
Who else is in the mix?
I've heard Nashville's looking at him.
Vancouver.
Fuck, I hope
needed-
if he
yeah.
doesn't go to Long
New
Island. I
Jersey's
hope-
got a ton of cap space too.
Yeah, if he doesn't go to Long Island for CONZ, I hope he goes to Vancouver for our boy Greener, because Greener lost a lot of key pieces in Vancouver after all the hard work he's put in there. Hopefully they can.
He's
get
going
a
to
guy-
coach his way right out
Yeah,
of it.
he's a fucking beauty. So, I think Hoffman. I think a Long Island would be a great spot for him. Hazy, I saw something. It's World Junior time. We definitely have to have a bet between us Canadians and the Americans, but we'll get to that. The Americans, Hazy, I saw on social media, were playing tag. Now,
man.
listen, if they think they're going to play tag against the fucking Canadians, they're in for one. So is that something that the USA program does, or what's with the playing tag?
I think they're just trying to adjust to the no hit in the OHL. You know, that's what they got to tag these guys around. But that drill, I think, comes from John Hines, who used to be the USA National Development Team coach. And he coached me in New Jersey. And I had to play tag as a bag skate one time. I'm chasing this Jesper Brad around. Have you guys ever seen this kid skate? I still haven't got him yet. I think I'm still it. But, like, it's the worst drill in the world for a big guy like me. All you do is chase these little fuckers around, and they just do all their fancy edge work, spin moves, and I can't catch them.
So, Uppy, is tag a good? Am I just the old slow D man that thinks tag's kind of soft to play, or is it actually?
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's the stupidest drill. It's top 2 worst drills in hockey.
Okay.
Number 1 is picket fence. 1-on-1 picket fence has to be the worst drill in hockey after a tough loss.
What's 1-on-1 picket fence?
When all the guys line up. Like you go into put the net in the corner and the guys all line up and the puck can't come out and it's just 1-on-1 and you just play it just bags you and they fucking make
3 or 4 guys lose their teeth. Everyone's getting
it's the worst drill in hockey.
Everyone with broken hand, fucking.
That was a Heinz
those
special.
Drills are just a shit show. There's so many bad drills.
You know what?
there.
What I hated the most, boys? The old Charlie Huddy. So when you're in the corner and the forward starts on the one hash and the other D starts on the other hash, and we can't turn around forwards to the blue line, and you guys just cheat and fucking dust us. I two-handed more guys, and that fucking drill, I was my worst fucking least favorite drill. The old Charlie Huddy.
The 1-on-1 down, touch the post, and then back, like chasing the D-man when you guys would start cheating.
Yeah. So
that's
a training camp drill.
So we could swing out early, right? So you'd have to go to the net, stop, and we would just go.
You played in Europe. How funny are some of these drills in Europe that you get to go over here?
I mean, the first morning skate I did in Europe, I was legitimately a practice. I'm like, we got to play after this? Are you guys fucking nuts? Like, it was 45 minutes. I'm like, there was no flow. It was battle drills down low. But yeah, some of the stick handling stuff and before the practice starts, the passing and stuff in Europe it's very different than in North America.
When I was in Ombre last year, I got there and there was a drill we would do. And I love my coach. I had great Luca, great coach. I know they all listen to the podcast, but this one drill, we'd be at the dots in the neutral zone and it would be the biggest chaos of anything on the ice you could ever imagine, where it's just pass, and I would fuck this shit up all day long.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I would just start laughing and be like, I cannot remember these fucking drills. These are they're crazy. I don't speak Italian. I can't fucking do these drills. I'll be on the bench. Actually,
titty. Can't fucking do these.
I'll be fucking inside because it was actually an outdoor rink. It was freezing some of these mornings.
Fellas, we got a great guest on the line. 2-time Stanley Cup champion.
Olympic gold medalist. Memorial Cup champ.
Guys won it all.
Fuck.
Calder Cup champ.
Calder Cup champ. I didn't even know he played in the
Memorial Cup. Another one.
I didn't even know he played in the American
Probably
League.
Kenora Beer League champ.
Mike Richards. Rick, welcome to Missin Curfew, buddy.
Richie.
Boys, what's going on? Good to be here.
Yeah, so we got Captain Collie in the booth, and we know where Kenora, Ontario is, Rich, but the captain's always asking about, she's like, what's Richie doing up there? I'm like, he's catching monstrous fish is what he's doing.
He plays golf and catches big fish. I don't know that I get that fish in the boat.
Yeah, it's with the struggle, but yeah, back home, been here pretty much since I retired. We go down to Florida for probably about 2-3 months every year and a few trips here and there, but this is a home base. We spend most of our time here now.
Where exactly is it, Richie? I'm the East Coast guy. I'm just a city kid.
Yeah. So we're 2 hours from Winnipeg. So we're just in the Ontario side, right on the border, but we're 2 hours from Winnipeg, straight up from Minneapolis, and pretty quiet area, but this is where I grew up, so this is where I always come back.
It's called Lake of the Woods, Jimmy. It's about the size of Pennsylvania, the lake. It's fucking massive. I mean, and Richie's boat dock can cover probably the whole thing. I was actually playing with you, Richie, when you bought that pad. And I remember at the time you're like, you probably just signed your ticket in Philly, and you were showing the boys like, I'm thinking about buying this lake cabin on the on the lake back home, and you started showing the boys the pictures, and we're like, cabin? The fuck is that cabin? Like,
that's the whole lake.
That's not a cabin.
Like, how many boats do you think you could fit on the dock though? I remember the dock being massive.
Yeah, so I bought the house my second year, and it just had this one little like strip of floating dock, so there wasn't really much there. And then the first year I had it, the summer, we had a huge party, and then it ended up everything being inside, and we woke up the next morning and it was an absolute like melee everywhere. Like, just, it was absolutely a mess. So after that summer and a few times where I had to wake up and clean that, we ended up building just a pretty big pad just for literally strictly for parties. So we put a hot tub down there. We had a sauna, and then there's a couple boat slips, but the boat slips were secondary when we were thinking about building it.
As they always are.
Yeah.
Rick, how did you and Captain Connolly cross paths? Was it in LA? Obviously, Carcillo. We had Carbomb on last week.
Yeah, so CONZ actually showed me how partying in Vegas was supposed to be like.
Every story starts like that with CONZ. Showed me how to
Captain
party.
CONZ, that's why. I'm telling you.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure the exact time, but I remember the first time that we really hung out was in Vegas. I don't know if it was 2009 or 2010.
The details are fuzzy, but yeah, it was 09, 010.
He was probably speaking at the awards, and you were collecting a Selkie trophy or something like that.
Yeah, so we partied there for the first time, and I was with Carcillo, and we all went out there after the season one year, and that was like height of Entourage too. So CONZ was a little bit of a deal, and hooked everything up, and we had a time.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, we had Carcillo on last week, and it was, you just think back, and it's crazy that you were talking 10, 11 years ago, man. Time really flies. Time really flies. And I think the big trip that everybody's talking about, I think is it possible that was the Olympic break?
It was the year end, because I think...
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, we went out there, and we went out not part of the awards, but I think the awards were going on. So there was so many NHL people everywhere, and we were just there mixing it up. And really everywhere we went was like an NHL player, and they're like, "Oh, you're here for the awards?" And we're like, "No."
That's me and O'Brien's awards ceremony.
Yeah, I was the only idiot that actually went to the awards. I was so hungover, I thought I was going to die. My head was splitting open. I was literally dying. It was awful.
I went in for Loops was up for the Masters and the Comeback Player of the Year, and I walk right in the first hotel, and I bump into fucking Pierre Maguire, and then I bump into Bob McKenzie. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what? Why'd I come to this fucking stupid
I'm not
thing?
between the benches right now.
But it actually turned out to be good. It turned out to be a good little weekend.
I like Bob McKenzie.
I like both those guys, but when you walk into a hotel in Vegas, you don't want to bump into those two guys.
No, you do not.
No, like that's all I was
Especially
saying.
at 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want. And there's just like so many GMs, so many like TV personalities, like literally every single person is there. And that's like the last thing you want to see.
Yeah.
So Richie, how's your golf game? Richie's got to be good at golf, right? Obviously.
Yeah. So this year I played a lot more. Usually I come back and fish a lot. So this year with the shutdowns, there wasn't really much else to do other than fish and golf. So I've got probably, 20, 25 rounds in this year. So it's getting pretty good now.
So what are you shooting? Like, what's your handicap, or what are you firing when you go and play?
Index?
Yeah.
It got down to a 6 this year, but usually hovering right around 7.
Okay, so
you and
Richie's
Obi
right in
have a
my
good
ballpark,
match, yeah.
buddy. We could have a nice little match out there. I mean, we'd have to.
Oh, yeah, so it's me and CONZ versus you and Rich.
We'd have to keep the betting down, Rich. I didn't make quite as much as you, so I have to put a fucking cap on that. But so what? Me and Rich versus you and CONZ?
Yeah, I think
I'm a
so.
17.6 handicap index.
That's giving CONZ too many strokes. 17. He's a gamer. He's gonna find a way to get the ball in the hole. I know it.
I do drop the big putt.
17's a lot. But yeah, we'll play him, right, Rich? We'll play him.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Actually, last week I heard you guys talking about Jordan's new course in Florida. So we go down to Florida every year to Wellington. So that's like a half hour away. So I got to get the captain there, CONZ, to give me an intro to somebody down there so I can join that track.
Well, Clark MacArthur's a member there. Do you know Clarky, Richie?
Yeah.
He plays. Yeah, so he plays with. So him and Loop still talk a lot, and he's been a member out at that club. And there's only, I want to say, there's less than 50
There's
members.
like 40 something members, which is
Ando's got some sort of connection there too.
And fucking him and MJ played like 10, 10, 20. And I'm not talking $10.
Yeah.
He's talking,
Like, so
he's
they
talking
get
10
the
units.
matches going. And that's all time, 10 units. Yeah.
He's
what
talking
does 10, 10,
units.
20 mean?
Yeah.
10, 10,
10,000 on the front, 10,000 on the back, 20 overalls. But then I'm imagining they're playing 2 down autos. So anytime
press.
me and you, CONZ, let's say me and
Press it.
Richie win 2 holes in a row, another $10,000 game. We won't be playing for 10,000. Starts right then. So I'm imagining
It's called Vegas. Yeah.
Let's
We're
do
down
10
to an
bucks,
automatic
10 bucks,
start.
20 bucks.
No, we do 50s. We do 50s. 50s, 50, 100.
After that commercial you did last week, we got to play 50s. But
Richie, what was that? What was that monstrous fish you did catch? I saw on your Instagram. What was that? Because that thing was insane.
They're all monsters.
Yeah.
I know.
A muskie.
It's a muskie.
And,
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been
it's a Ken Hitchcock.
Yeah.
It's a muskrat. It's a fucking muskrat.
with the side of them. But when I retired a few years ago, I got big into like fall muskie fishing, and I've been chasing 50-inch muskie for the last 4 years.
Jesus.
And I've got like 48 and a half. I got 149, and 50 is kind of the big number for muskies. And that one was 51. So I was so pumped.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you swimming in that lake with those fish in there? I wouldn't even fucking think about stepping foot in that thing.
Yeah. So I got buddies that literally are scared of that, of
I'd be
swimming.
one of them.
Yeah, me too.
Everybody's like, yeah, they don't really bite. They don't, do anything. But I guess there was somebody a little bit north of here that was just hanging out in the water on the beach. And I guess a big muskie came up and literally ripped apart her ankle because
It's a
she
fucking
was.
sound. It's a great horror movie. Richie, what's up?
So after that, now I'm like, I don't
Might as
know.
well put sharks in there.
The muskie.
Yeah,
CONZ could sell that story, Richie. He could sell that.
literally 50-inch. Like that's got to be pretty close to the size of CONZ.
Hey, yo, is it catch and release, or do you fillet those fuckers?
No, we released that one. Usually just walleye we'll keep and eat those.
You get one for the gram. You throw it up for a couple likes, and you throw it right back in the water. That's the way to go.
That's pretty much all it's good for. A few likes on Instagram, and
That
that's
thing was
about
a fucking monster.
Richie, other than Kenora, where's the best place you've gone fishing?
We go down to Florida, so I bring my boat down to Florida every year, and we drive down, so it takes a few days. But in terms of bass, we go to Lake Okeechobee, which is like right in the heartland of Florida. And I caught a 9-pound bass last year there, which is insane. But that's probably one of the best bass lakes that I fished anyways. And then there's freshwater stuff too, or saltwater stuff that we've gone in Dominican. I've gone fishing there, gone fishing, saltwater fishing off the coast of Florida, and caught some decent like mahi-mahis there and barracudas. So
We got to
there's
get you a
lots-
TV show.
Do you, you need your own little TV show. Richie,
Yeah.
do you like the deep sea fishing, bro? When you talk about like Costa Rica, are you going deep sea fishing, like way the fuck out there?
In there, we went for marlin the 1 year.
Oh, God, I'm
We didn't
nauseous.
end up getting anything,
I
but,
can't do that. I'm same as you, bro. I need to see land. I need
Right.
to be close to it. I need a
100% need
dance
the
party
land.
would help
Literally
out.
nauseous talking about it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And that was the only time that I've gone like deep sea. That was enough for me. Like we
Yeah.
sat out all day, we didn't get anything, and like you're out there. Like if you have any sort of like anxiety, like that, it's not the place that you want to be. 'Cause, you literally look around and you see nothing.
I remember I went deep sea fishing in Tampa with like Tarnat. No, I went with Trevor Gillies. I was like, fucking right. So I get out there, I throw a big lipper in, got the shirt off. I'm like, this is going to be a day, boys. We're going to have a fucking day. Richie, 15 minutes. I'm like, the rest of the time, I'm like, get me back to fucking shore. I got sunburn. I was fucking in one.
Richie, what's the go-to out on the boat? Like in the morning, is it a little coffee and Bailey's, a little stogie, a little doobie? What's the what do you do there?
Just coffee. We go out early too. Like we're 6 a.m.
6 a.m.ers, yeah.
Yeah,
It's tough
we
It's
to
all
do
right.
that.
You could still do I tee off at 6:50 with a Coors Light. I'm not scared.
I do coffee and Bailey's in the morning. Ryan Getzlaff told
Coffee
me that
and
one.
Baileys.
And my old man, my big, Big Scott does that too.
Yeah, CONZ is Irish though, so you can have it. I'm not.
He throws the whiskey in there too.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Rich, we were driving up, me and Uppy talking, we were talking about you a lot and your time in Philly. Let's start there, Ups. And there was the one story Loops and Uppy used to always tell me, Uppy, take it from here, the Game 7 train ride or something with Holgram or where they call
Well,
Richie up. Talk us through it.
Let's just get this straight. So I got traded. It was my first ever move from a hockey club ever. I get traded from Nashville to Philly. Big expectations, obviously, I was a first round pick. They moved Forsberg and me and a couple other guys, Ryan Parent and a draft pick.
I got
Go
traded
that
for Ryan
way.
Parent too.
Wow, you guys have a lot in common.
All right. They just threw him in. I think he's making
Yeah, well, he got thrown He got thrown in. Anyway, first guy I get to meet was Richie. Second guy was Karts. Ended up being two of my best buddies on the team. On a team, Richie, that was tight as can be, similar to probably what you guys had in LA from what we all know. And right from the get-go, Rich, leader, played hard, fought, a guy you could follow no matter what. Yeah. And it was unbelievable. So as far as like hockey was concerned, he was the best fucking young leader like we could ever have. And that's a testament to all your accolades, Richie, right there. But one good thing too is he'd stick up for his teammates no matter what. So we were in the playoffs and we were in Washington in the first round. And I bet you remember this vividly. Story, but we had an incredible card table, hey Rich?
Tell the story.
We had 8 guys always at our card table. Hatcher, Jason Smith, Richie, Loops, Hartnell, Tiemann. So can you describe what happened the night we lose game 5, I think.
We were up 3-1, I think.
We were up 3-1, yeah.
So we lost the game 5 in Washington, and we had game 6 at home, and we had a nice night, I think, set up in Atlantic City. So all the boys are all fired up, and I'm assuming this is what you're...
This is exactly what I was
looking for, fella.
Because we felt like we could kick anyone's ass, and it wasn't like we were fucking ready to rock and roll at the Atlantic City, but we said, let's fucking win this game, and we can go have some fun, boys. But
so we had it set up, and... we lose and we have to go back to Washington. So we take a train to Washington, only a few hours. And all of a sudden I get called up to see Homer. So I walk up there and I have no idea what this is about. Like I knew we had something set up in Atlantic City, but I wouldn't think that he would know about it. And I sit down and start talking to him and he finally brings it up. He's like, Rich, and Homer's a pretty good guy too.
Best guy.
So he goes, I hear you guys had something lined up tonight in Atlantic City. And I'm like, oh yeah, we had something lined up if we would have won. He's like, you really think that was a good idea to have lined up? It seems like you're putting the cart before the horse a little bit. And, what do I say to that? Like, all I said was, honestly, Homer, I was really confident we were going to win. And that's pretty much it. And we didn't. So now we're on the way to Washington.
Came back to the card table, looked around, and we're like, what was that all about? You're like, we better win this fucking game tomorrow. We're all out of here.
The way Luke says it, he goes, then Rick comes back and goes, boys, we got to win this fucking game 7. We're all out of here. We're all out of here.
You could tell he wasn't happy about it, obviously, but you could tell he wasn't mad. Like, what's he going to say? Like, we literally planned it out for us to win. So it is what it is, but he was good about it. We ended up winning. So.
All I know is as the guys stepped up, I scored my first fucking playoff goal in game 7 of that series, and Lupul scores the fucking G-dub in double overtime.
Yeah, was that the one where Lupul?
Thank you.
Wow, that's a play to party type night right there, up dog.
Oh, yeah.
That was Lupul's
on a power play too, I think. Power play goal in double overtime, I believe.
Yeah,
Luke's
I just
got the
remember
PP
his
goal,
celly. It was
little rebound,
yeah.
toss the gloves off. Fucking, I love watching that highlight because I come in, buck titties, jump over Jimmy Dowd, almost take out fucking Jimmy Short Pants. It was beautiful.
Gonna be a good social clip.
I'm pretty sure he had a broken stick too. I don't know if that goal should have counted, but
we might have to go back and look at it here.
Yeah, his stick was broken in half. I remember him whipping it up in the air after, and it just being in 2 pieces. I was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Hey, Rich, do you remember the time you always knew I wanted to be on the Flyers? I think the one night at the Roxy, I was talking to you about fucking trying to get me on the squad. But anyways, I come into Tampa. Uppy's the only one playing. You're hurt. Loops is hurt. Do you remember this night where we went out till about fucking 6 a.m?
Yeah.
I got back to the hotel at fucking 7:15. I ain't lying. Still in my suit. I'm like, get in there. Bus is at 9:30. I go out and play 27 minutes, whatever, 24. Too much for me. And I fucking felt pretty good. It was only my second year, Rich, but I just remember Loops texting me after the game. He's like, fuck, me and Rick thought you had a good game out there, so I got to go home at 7.
Yeah, those are the best nights, as long as you can put it together, and then you're just done for the rest of the week.
I think we played in Carolina the next 2 nights later, Rich. I couldn't even fucking skate, bro.
Richie, do you remember that? So that year we all got hurt. I had a fucked up hand. Loops broke his hand. I think you had abdominal surgery maybe. And Hatcher was out too. He was going bone on his knees. Remember he was getting 100 cc's of fucking pus taken out of his knees like before games. He's a beast. I love Hatch. Not only because he would bring magnums of wine on the train, like so we could pass it around the card table, but he took us out drinking. You remember he showed up in like Rittenhouse Square at the Irish pub to watch the guys play. They had a road game, right? And we were all injured. He's like, hey, you guys are meeting me downtown. So he shows up in his blue Hummer. Yeah. He had a fucking sick big Hummer. And we all meet him for beers. And he could fucking pound beer. So we tried to go beer for beer with him.
With Darian Hatcher?
And I remember fucking seeing him going like, he's leaving the bar, and me, Richie, and Loops are like out on the. I think we're out laying on the lawn, like in the Rittenhouse Square. We were so fucked up, hammered, and Hatch was just like honk honk. I'm like, holy shit, the guy's an animal.
Guy's a veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're literally trying to walk around Rittenhouse Square, just like trying to find our way home. And meanwhile, we're just doing laps.
Rich, I don't know if you remember this. It was the one night where it was you were on the Flyers, and the Flyers are playing the Kings, and it was New Year's Eve, right? So we were, however it worked out, we're going out, right?
Yeah, of course.
And Lupul was hurt, so it was me, Richie, Lupul, Carcillo,
oh man, what a
Carter. We're at Teddy's, right? And then somebody says something to me like, yo, they're opening this new place downstairs. Remember this, Rich?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is it? Like, oh, it's Beecher's Madhouse. It's like, oh, okay. Well, so we go through these tunnels. We like walk, and there's a bookcase that opens up when we walk in, and it was the opening night ever of Beecher's Madhouse. And there's Oompa Loompas. I mean, it was fucking bananas. They're like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know. I've seen it for the first time. It was pretty wild. We had a great time. But my story, and I always tell people this, and Carcillo and I talked about this the other day. We go back, and I don't know, it's probably 12:30, 12:45, and we're all now back at Teddy's, and the rest of the team is there, and everybody's just kind of hanging out. And all of a sudden, Richie, for no rhyme or reason, he stands up, doesn't say anything, and he starts heading towards the door, and the entire team gets up and follows him out the door. And the last three guys sitting there are me, Lupul, Carcillo. Carcillo's like, fuck. All right, boys, I gotta go. He's like, when the captain leaves. And then Carcillo was like, yeah, no, that wasn't that's just when he wanted to go home. Yeah. And when he goes home, we all go home. And that's it. I was like, fuck, man, he didn't say a word. You just got up and you walked out, and everybody followed you out the door. And that's the captain right there. It was nice.
Yeah, Beecher's Madhouse. So we went there that night. When I got traded to LA, you and PJ took me out. We ended up there at the end of the night.
Yeah, we did. I was like, welcome to LA.
Yeah, welcome me to LA. So we went there. Then after we won the first night out after that, we ended up there. So literally I've been there 3 times, and all 3 times have been with you. Big things like first night in LA with the Flyers, went there, got traded to LA. First night out, went there. After we won the first cup, went there. Like, it's literally
I mean, I have the pictures. Every once in a while when it pops up, I'll send it to you and Carcillo. I don't know that it's appropriate for a social clip because we look like crazy people in there with the Oompa Loompas.
So it was not the night we won. We went back to Hermosa Beach, but that first night after we won, the Roosevelt Hotel gave us the suite there. So we went there for the night, went to the ball game, and then went there after. But like you said, some of those pictures that were taken probably weren't ideal.
Well, thank God they were BlackBerry photos, because if they were there.
But I guess Gary Bettman called Dean after and said, like, listen, like, this can't happen anymore. Like, luckily the pictures, there wasn't a ton of them that got out or anything, but there definitely were some, and we got the old Heisman that we weren't allowed to go back there with the cup after that night.
Oh, really?
Hey, Richie, do you remember there being a curfew for the cup? Is that what do you remember?
We just found out why there is a curfew.
I think you just have had a little part of that.
Yeah, CONZ, we should have known you were the reason there's a curfew on the mug.
Yeah, when we got the cup for the day in the summer, I was actually lucky both times because I live in the middle of nowhere. I got it for two nights, 3 days the first time, and then 2 nights, 2 days the second time. And the guys are usually pretty good. The first time I went out, I ended up having like the after party at my house on the dock. And it was like 1:30, 2 o'clock. And finally the guy was like, hey, Richie, like I got to go.
Richie, I take the stick.
Yeah. And actually at that point I was like relieved because you're so stressed with so many people around. You don't want this thing being chucked in the lake.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't float.
Yeah. I heard your conversation about that a few weeks ago about if it floats. And I took it out on the paddleboard one day and they made me put a life jacket on the cup because apparently it sinks. And I guess the story is Mario had it at his house in his pool and it sunk to the bottom and it took, I mean, it's 40 pounds as it is, but trying to get out of the pool filled with water, I guess, was a huge nightmare. So now anytime it's around water, it's got to have either be in the boat or a life jacket on.
I think they got to figure out a way to make that thing float. Can't they put those rubber rims floating?
You would think they do something for the boys.
I would have bet any amount of money that it floated.
Drill a couple holes in it.
Yeah,
Then it'll.
Hey, Rich,
You know, aerosol life jackets where if it gets like a little bit of wet, it like inflates inside. Yeah, you would think something like that. But
do you remember the time in Vancouver? We played you guys, and then after the game, you and Lupo were waiting for me. And I was literally in the Vancouver fucking weight room riding the bike, and Lupo and Richards are knocking on the door. They're like poking their head. They're like, "Oh, let's fucking go here. Hey, let's get her going." I'm like, "Boys, give me 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes." I remember the next day, all the boys like, "I can't believe that happened." I'm like, "Well, what would you think they would have found out if they knew the whole Flyer squad?"
Yeah,
That was a good party.
You had us all over at your pad after that. We all were acquainted.
That was the year we had like the most epic trip out through Western Canada. We went Edmonton and then we had a few days in Calgary. Then we went up to like Whistler for 5 days and they rented us these like huge chalets.
At the Four Seasons we stayed.
Yeah. Like the first, like the place I've ever been. Up into the mountains, like 5-6 bedroom, literally mansions. And then we ended up off pretty much at the Roxy for 10 days and then played Vancouver. And I just remember that flight home after that trip. There was not one person awake. It was literally like a 2-week bender through Western.
There was no cards being played that day.
I love the feeling of those plane rides home is just like, fuck, boys, I left it all on the table.
Yeah.
I don't have a cent of fucking energy left to even flip over a card right now. I am done. I am, for the first time ever, I do not want to gamble with you fucking guys.
I don't want to drink. Just leave me alone.
We must have went on like a 10-game losing streak when we got home. That was like a whole year of being wore down in one like 2-week trip. Every time we went out to Van, actually, it was just an absolute riot.
There were still guys on your squad at my house when I woke up for practice.
You're like, all right, you guys
I won't mention the names. My spare room was occupied, which was understandable. And then I come out and there's 3 or 4 of the Flyers. I'm like, how you doing, boys? I'm like, I got to go to practice. Lock the door behind me here, for fuck's sake.
Also, too, the funny thing, I remember, Richie, when you got traded to LA from the Flyers, you'd text me, you're like, I just got traded to LA. Now there was this thing, I think now, everybody knows what a great place to play, right? It's a great place to play. It's beautiful. You're on the beach.
Yeah,
it's like it's a real thing. And it's no disrespect to guys that were there, but when Richie got, those guys were the first guys that made sort of, since Gretzky, it had been 20 years. These guys made the Kings cool. And when Richie got there, everything changed that year. It was different. There was something different about it.
Yeah, we had a good squad. It was a lot similar to what it was in Philly when you were there, Uppy, and when Loops was there. It was just a bunch of like younger guys, kind of early mid-20s, and we'd go out together, we'd have fun together, but on the ice, we just had a really good team. We kind of struggled a little bit that first year, but it was similar to that year that we went to the finals in Philly, where we kind of struggled up and down, and then anytime that we needed to win a game, we just knew that we were going to show up between like Kopi, Hart's got there halfway through the year, myself, Drew Doughty,
Stoley, babe.
Stoley, like Quickie was.
Yeah, he had a pretty good goalie.
I think he's the best. If you get one game, one time,
Richardson.
game 7, you got to have one guy to win a game. I'm calling on Johnny Quick in his prime to win a game 7 any day of the week.
Playoff stretch is by far the best goaltending I've seen in person. Even like anytime I watch hockey, how good he was that 18 games that we played or 20 games in the playoffs, he was absolutely insane.
Unreal.
Yeah. But
yeah, Richie, CONZ did say this the other day. We were here the other week saying that we were going to get you on, and we're all excited. We're shooting the shit. And he was like, single-handedly, Mike Richards came to the LA Kings and changed the way they played and the way they acted. Like, it was like a game changer. And that's what I say about you when I had you as a captain. It was just like fucking, you knew that you could gather these guys to go out and win a fucking game no matter when it was.
Also,
and then in
the season ticket prices went through the fucking roof. 40 grand for 2 glass seats when Richie and Carter showed up.
And then you got to
you
get
could
the
write that
squeegee.
off.
You got to get the squeegees out at the Staples Center. The fucking seats. Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
soup night.
No, man, it was a fun team to watch, man. It really was.
Well, you could just tell how, and same with your team in Philly, Rich. Your team's in Philly. When you played against the Kings, and I knew a lot of the boys, but you could tell how close you guys were. You could tell that when you went out there to snap it around, that it truly fucking mattered to you guys, and that's what I think took you guys to the next level.
my first year, we started over in Europe. I think we played in Germany and Stockholm. So we actually had like 7 days in Stockholm before the season started, which was insane.
Just
Like,
get some European kills out of the way quick.
Yeah.
Hey, boys, there's a couple Swedes here under my belt to start the season off.
Yeah, Stockholm was one of the best cities in the world. We had 7 days there just to get kind of acquainted with the new team. And we were all, like I said before, low 20s, mid 20s, and we had ourselves a time. And it was awesome. And it was kind of what you guys were saying, of just being like a close-knit group of guys that just loved hanging out together, played hard. We obviously ended up winning that year, but anytime that we needed a big game, we went on I think we had like 8-game losing streak at one point throughout the year, but anytime we needed to win, like we just knew that we had guys that were big game players and that we would win that hockey game.
I just remember when you guys went in the 1 year, you were the 8th seed, right? Playing the Canucks in the first round. And you just fucking flat and burn. I was like, this series is over right now.
Yep.
And you guys ended up sweeping them, didn't you? Or beat them in 5 or something?
We beat them in 5. We did that. So we did 5 against Van. We swept St. Louis, which was like by far
The hardest series.
Yeah, it was an
They were
absolute
good that year.
They were supposed to
really
win that year.
They had like Oshie, Backus, who's a big guy. Reeves was there.
They got Miller in net, right?
They
They brought in Miller. Yeah.
They had an absolute beast of a team too, and it was so physical. But a fun playoff series to have. And we swept them, but it was not even close to being like.
How did you bunch of beauties handle having 6 days off or a week off in between every series? How did you? Because honestly, Richie, it's something you got to like stay focused, especially in Manhattan Beach. How did you boys deal with that?
It's tough, I think.
Yeah.
So the next time we won in 2014, we actually did what a lot of teams were close to doing to us. When you just like win game 7, you're on such a high that you just roll that into game 1. And we had so much time in between series every time that first run. If Quickie wasn't so good, we would have lost pretty much every game 1 because we got steamrolled for the most part. And Quickie just would make like 40 saves and have a shutout in game 1, and we'd win like 1 or 2-0. So it's tough when you have that much time in between series. Like if you don't kind of be careful, that series can get away from you pretty quickly. And if we didn't have Quickie, like we would have lost every game 1 because we were just getting the crap beat out of us for the most part until we found our legs. And then once we did that, we had success. But it's not easy doing that. I think everybody always says like it's, they're rested coming in, but I would way rather be the team that just finished, game 6 or game 7 and then 2 days off and you start the next series.
I agree. We swept St. Louis and Vancouver my first year. We had 10 days. 10 days,
Yeah.
Rich.
That's a tough 10 days.
And that was a fucking tough 10 days. And then, Rich, we came out for game 1 against the Hawks, and they ran us out of the fucking barn. I'm like, this is going to be a short series. But then we got our legs. But like you said, like, if you lose game one and game two, you're like, fuck,
You're in one.
Yeah, you're in one. So
especially if you lose game one or game two at home, and I always like starting on the road, just because there's no pressure, you can kind of go out there and do whatever. But if you lose game one on home ice, like game two all of a sudden becomes like you have to win it. You can't lose games at home.
Yeah, the boys are squeezing the sticks a bit.
It's a little bit. But we, being the 8th seed, we had every game in our first year was on the road. So we just went in there. It's like, whatever, we win. If we lose, like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Broadway, go ahead, fella.
Yeah, no, speaking that, you've been on like the side of sweeping teams. Then you were playing in Philly. You guys are playing against Boston, and you guys are down. Is it 3-0 or 3-1? And then you have that huge hit on Krejci that changed the entire series of it. But what's the mindset when you're on the other end of it? How do you want to get back into it? Are you just trying to do the cliche, take it a game at a time, or are you guys believe in it? Because like in the NBA, if a team's down 3-0, I'm betting the team that's up 3-0 every time.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with like how the series is going. Like when we played Boston, and similar thing when we came back in LA against San Jose, is like, even though we were down 3-0, like we thought we were pretty much right there. Like it's different when you're down 3-0, you're just getting the crap kicked out of you and you have no chance. But the one game in Boston, I think, was an overtime. The other one was like a goal. I think they scored, game 3, they scored one with like a minute left. So they were all tight games. And I mean, it is a cliche, but when you're in games like that and 1-goal games or games that are just like, a fluky bounce here and a fluky bounce there, it's pretty easy to get up for it. So in both of those series, we knew that we're literally one bounce away from being either up in the series or down 2-1 instead of 3-0.
Yeah.
Richie, are you still sending Christmas cards out to the media in Philadelphia or what?
No, I've talked to really any of them for a long time. Even when I went back when I was in LA, it would be like just a short little,
for sure,
5-10 minute conversation.
The Bill Belichick interview.
Yeah, Richie, Uppy was talking about it. I didn't know this. So what happened near the end in Philly? Like they were, you thought they were betraying you the wrong way, and you kind of said, "Fuck you guys," and had enough with it. Is that what went down?
So I talked to the media every single day when I was in Philly. Like when you're the captain, you talk every single day, which some days just gets annoying. But the one year I went, I think it was like 2 weeks or 10 days where I just didn't even talk to him. I would give him 1-word answers. And we were on like a 10-game winning streak, and they all decided to write a story about how we go out too much. And it was just like the worst time for a story like that. Like we're in the midst of a 10-game winning streak, and you're just going to write a shitty article like this just for the sake of doing it. So I got wind of it, and I told them, if they end up writing the story, like you're just not going to get any quotes from me. So I had to talk to him or I would get fined. So I literally just went in there, and every question they asked was either a yes or no. That went on for about 10 days. And then I ended up hitting that booth when we played Florida the one year. And after that, I kind of had to talk to him. But yeah, we had a rocky, I guess, relationship, but there was some good ones in there. I think that Frank Saravelli, who I think he's a TSN guy now, but I always had a good conversation with him. But there's a few of them that literally would just write articles for no reason, or they would ask questions where it wouldn't even be a question. They would just like make a statement like, "You guys lost tonight. I noticed that you didn't play very well," and then just like put
Good call.
Fresh tips.
Yeah, there's a question in there. So it just like some of the questions just annoyed me, and it just.
I got major beef with them too when they fucking put that article out about me and the porn star. Yeah. I wasn't too happy about that.
I texted up you. I'm like,
I mean, it wasn't not true, but it was more just the fact that they're like, "Hey, can we get a comment? We're going to air this," and I'm like, what are you talking about? Why?
Back then, there was just stories, a lot of stories like that, where it was just like, really, like,
I didn't know. Like, come on here, have a touch.
How could you expect me to comment on that?
Yeah, have a touch.
what do you want me to say here? Like,
Yeah, it was 5 years ago. I'm in Florida. Can I not just like sail off in peace here in Miami? Come on.
I still think it was legendary.
Obi texted me that day. He's like, "Up, dog. I read the article, bro." He's like,
yeah.
How you feeling? And then so I'm like, how am I feeling? And then a quick text comes, I don't know about you, bro, but that's legendary shit, bro.
Later on, that actually Uppy wrote the article.
I'm like, yeah, I actually wrote the piece. It's you know, it was a pump up thing.
You know, I'm new to journalism, but I like that article. Pen to paper. And,
this new thing called Twitter. Yeah, it's actually around everywhere now. It's still pulling that article back. If I tried.
Hey, Richie. So we've been trying to get Penner on the pod. He's ghosting us. Right?
Fucking Penner's ghosting me hard.
Penner won't come on the pod. He's ducking. He's ducking Obi. What was it like when Penner came on? I mean, the guy obviously scored a couple big goals. Only guy ever to win a cup with the Ducks and the Kings. He wasn't one in physical fitness, but he scored the big goal. What was it like playing with Penner?
Yeah, Pens is probably thinks it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, for sure.
On the podcast, but he was good. He played well that first year that we won in 2012. He was awesome. I mean, he's just such a beast on the ice. Like when he is playing well, he's actually similar to Kopi. Like Kopi's like just a huge, thick body on the ice that you can't move, and that's what Pens is like when he would get going. He was just a man amongst boys because you couldn't move him. He actually was a good skater. Like he was fast. He can get by you, but he just didn't have that mean bone in his body where he could just like kind of destroy people if he wanted to. And I don't think Daryl liked him too much, and he let him do a Newport when after that first year, I think he moved back to Newport, so he would be showing up literally a minute before
that's a tough drive.
Yeah. Listen, with the traffic too,
it's stupid.
No predictability of how long it's going to take. So he would show up 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late sometimes. We'd have a meeting at 10.
He'd be like, "Traffic, bro. What do you want me to do? I don't control the traffic.
It's the 5.
It's the fucking
Daryl. What do you want me to do? It's fucking clogged
up. You
up.
can't win."
Yeah, I can't fight traffic,
But was he a guy that is Penner fired up in the dressing room before a game, or is he just kind of listening to his music and reading conspiracy articles?
No, he wasn't overly fired up. He did the music, so it was a lot of
techno.
DJ Pandemic.
Yeah.
He wasn't overly fired up, but he would get going a little bit. He would. If something happened,
Okay, cool. He's a pretty calm guy, though. I remember Richie when I was in my second year pro, and we signed this Dustin Penner from the University of Maine, and this kid walks through the fucking door, and he's 6'4", 240. I'm like, Jesus Christ! And he gets out there, and it's a bit of a stretch, but not much. He couldn't cross over.
Skate.
Couldn't cross over.
I used to play you guys 10 times.
Could not fucking cross over. And I'm like to Loops and the boys in the locker room. I'm like, if this guy can figure it out, and Dan Balsma worked with him every fucking day, and come playoff time, he finally figured it out. And then he'd get that big ass out, Rich, and there was no getting the puck from him.
Yeah, he was in Edmonton. He was like a nightmare to play against because, like you said, he would just get his big ass out in front of the net, and you literally couldn't out-muscle him. He was so just man strength, where he would just push you off, kind of like Bufflin too a bit. Where he was just so big, and he was just out muscle you.
Two guys early, Buff and Pens, who got cups real early in their career, and it just fucking catapulted their confidence and their bank accounts.
Well, Buffalo one as a forward. Hey, Rich, I got one more question for you, buddy, before we let you go, and I appreciate you joining us. We had Prongs on a couple weeks ago, and we brought up the Dry Island thing, and Prongs actually said, looking back, the way they handled it. They didn't handle it the right way. He wishes they would have done it differently. Just real quick touch on it. not that you like how it was for you. What were you thinking when you went through it, and just from your perspective, because he does agree that it wasn't handled the right way.
Yeah. So my opinion on it, I think it's a very like junior hockey thing to kind of ask of people. I don't think it was handled the right way because one, you have no way of like governing what people do on their own time, and two, like these are 20 to 40-year-old men. So how do you tell somebody that they can have a beer if they want one, or
a glass of wine at the hotel after a game?
Oh, exactly. Dinner, stuff like that. So I think it was just poorly. I'm not even sure what wording you would use, but to have somebody lie to their teammates about just like pressuring them into going up. So I'll give you a quick rundown of what it was first. So we were just in a meeting and he kind of ran through if you go out for beers, it's not going to help the team in the last month and a half to the end of the season. So I'm going to put my name up here. We'll call it Dry Island, and whoever's on the board is not going to have any alcohol to the end of the year. So they kind of pressured everybody to do it. And they said, you don't have to do it right now, but in the next couple of days, throw your number up there. And it got to a point where there was like, 8 guys up there, and the young guys did it because we kind of just said like, you kind of have to. And then there was a few older guys, but there was a huge chunk of people that weren't on there. There's probably like 8 to 10 of us that weren't on there. But obviously Kartsy and I got like, we're the bigger names that weren't up there. And there was some older guys like Kimo Timonen.
Hartnell, there's no way Hartsy put his name. Hartsy didn't put his name on there. He probably had beers under his stall. He was probably drinking under his stall.
There were like 8 of us that weren't up there. And there was a few times where like we'd play like Saturday and then not again until Tuesday. So there's no point in us.
Green.
Yeah, green light.
That's a fucking
That's
green
a
light.
green light. Oh, Uppy, you got that circled on the calendar for sure.
That was my job, Con.
In us lying to everybody by just throwing our name up there when everyone knew that you were going to go out for a few pops that, a few of the nights. So we didn't end up doing it. And then it just got blown out of proportion, and it just made us look bad because somehow word got out to the media that that's what happened. And obviously we were the only ones that didn't put our name on the board, which wasn't true either, but it was just a junior hockey thing to ask grown men and professionals to do. And I think it just got blown out of proportion.
That wouldn't have gone well if they tried to tell to the entourage guys, like, listen, fellas, got the Golden Globes coming up. We're going to need you guys to...
But
tighten it up, Carly, a little bit. The Golden Globes are around the corner.
That is literally what it is. Like, imagine somebody would do that if they went to the cast of Entourage.
And you're the number one show right now. Yeah, right? You're just buzzing 10 straight episodes of just number one hits. And they're like, whoa.
That would piss you off.
And that was Laviolette, right?
Was that Lavi?
Lavi, yeah.
Listen, I will bet any amount of money if Laviolette, if he were sitting there with his friends or whatever it is, he regrets that more than anything, because you almost, and he's whatever. There's no way, like, you kind of identify him with that to a certain extent, right?
Yeah, for sure. And Prongs mentioned that the reason he wanted to do it too, he's like, I guess he told some of the older guys like Prongs, whoever, he's like, fuck, I'd like to lose some weight too, so maybe I'll do this Dry Island. Like, that's not the fucking reason to make the boys not drink, because you want to shed a few, Lavi. Like, when Prongs told me that, I was like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, and then you put the pressure on people to do it, but then you're really just lying to your teammates, because there was one of those green lights on a Saturday night where there was literally like 15, 18 of the guys out at the bar, and we're just like, oh, I thought you were on the island.
Yeah, I thought you signed.
So guys signed up, and we're like, well, yeah, of course I signed up. I had to, but I'm not fucking doing that, right?
So
that's even more Bush League move.
Yeah, exactly. It just got to a point where it's like, why do this, really? And you're more splitting up the team than like bringing them together, more or less than anything at that point in the season, which was like kind of Bush League junior hockey more so than anything.
Richie, lastly, I just wanted to ask you, because I remember mine vividly, but do you remember and maybe you were there with Carts, but do you remember your first game back to Philly after you guys had won, getting traded there? And how was that? I know it was a fucking standing ovation, but how was it?
At first it was, and then every time I touched the puck was booed. It was crazy. I still don't really even get that. Like in between an icing, so it wasn't even a like commercial. You know, the commercials they give you like the quick like video.
For sure, yeah.
And then standing ovation. It was literally like in between like an icing. So you have like 15 seconds. It's like, welcome back, Mike Richards. And
that's all they gave you. Pricks.
Yeah. It was
Philly
like
fans are fucked.
Ovation, and then the puck dropped and it was over. But then every time I touched the puck, I got booed. And I was thinking about it after. I'm like, why am I getting booed? One, I never asked for a trade. Two, I never wanted to be traded, and I just got dealt. And now I'm like the bad guy coming back here, which I never really understood. But
some people in Philly are fucked up like flowers. Some people they're just a little odd.
I get it if, say, like I wanted more money, or I like, you know, weaseled my way out by like being like TO and doing, you know, stuff that hurt the team. But for a guy who was like shocked that I got traded, for a guy who never wanted to be traded, to get traded and then come back, and it was like I was the bad guy. I was like, nah, whatever. I mean, it worked out. I had no complaints, but it was just fun what happened.
That's why we offer these platforms for our guys to come on and tell the real fucking story. What
Real
happened.
shit.
Broadway, finish this off. What do you got for Richie? Last one for him.
Oh, I just wanted to know, you won the Olympics in Vancouver. I wanted to know how that night was out there with all those guys on that team. I'm still convinced that shit was fucking fixed. Crosby scoring the OT winner, and I'm sitting in my Boston College dorm room rooting for the U.S. But what type of night was that with all those beauties?
Yeah, well, Obi wasn't even there, but we ended up back at his house.
I left Richie the key. I said, hey, enjoy, fella, enjoy.
Yeah. But that was awesome. That city was absolutely insane. We all had, you couldn't like, because I had all my family there, you couldn't like bring people into the village. So we all had hotel rooms outside the village so we can go hang with our family, somewhere to go. But we went out, had an absolute party. Like that city was absolutely insane after we stopped in at the Roxy, but the Roxy was like
It's too much probably, right?
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And not even like because we won, but just like the sheer amount of people was insane.
Yeah.
I forget what bar we were at.
You probably went to Republic, didn't you?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I think I had just to dial. I think that's where you're dialed in at Republic. Yeah.
Wait a second. So, Obi, you hosted the after party for the Olympics.
So Richie hits me up before the gold medal game, and he says, "Hey," I said, "Good luck." When he said, "Good luck," I said, "If we win, you know," I go, "Listen, my condo's there. Whatever. Do your thing. Good luck." So they ended up winning the gold medal, and him and PJ used my condo, and he went out with maybe Peter Gurgis and went to Republic, but.
Yeah, we had all my family, my brothers were there, and then obviously all the boys, and partied all night. We had a flight to Tampa the next morning at 8:00. And I just remember getting back to the hotel, just about to go to sleep, and Nasty's calling me, Derek Settlemeyer from Philly, who is the trainer for the Olympic team, but our trainer in Philly. And all the flyers were getting the private bird over to Tampa. And I remember just about laying down in bed, and my phone's just ringing off the hook, and I answer it. I'm like, what's going on, Nasty? He's like, man, you got to get here. I'm like, why? Where are you? He's like, we're at the village. We're leaving. I'm like, leaving where? He's like, we're going to Tampa. The flight's in literally a half hour. Then I had to rush back from the hotel to the village, pack up all my stuff, ended up being late for the plane. And there's like Prongs, his kids, Chemo, pretty much everyone with the flyers. And I guess Nasty told me I got on the flight, literally sat down, and Prongs' kids were like jumping all over me the whole flight. I didn't even budge. I woke up in Tampa, so it was a pretty good time.
All right, in closing, last thing.
Yeah.
Talked a little bit that you've been playing hockey. Upshaw and Broadway and O'Brien have challenged the Spittin' Chicklets guys. Do you join the team? Do you come out of retirement to play with these guys for that game? For charity.
Yeah.
We're putting a squad together, Richie.
We'd love to have you,
starting
Richie. We'd
center.
love to have you. Right.
Captain, no questions asked.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I could come back. I'll play with the boys. I'll be.
Yeah. See, there we
We're
go.
thinking,
Big
thinking
signing.
Vegas.
Signing.
We're thinking Vegas.
We're
is the
thinking
place.
Vegas, maybe.
Nevada's still
Vegas.
open. We're gonna do it in
Terrible
Vegas.
idea.
Is it a terrible idea?
Well, we got to find a place with a ring. I mean, it's an off-air conversation,
Vegas
but it'd be a
Knights
great
practice
charity
rink.
event.
We know a guy.
Great charity event.
Done.
We got to think for after the game's over here too, Captain CONZ. Richie ain't flying in to go home after the game, I'll tell you that.
I'm playing in like Swift Current here, where we're just going.
Yeah, we got a guy on the ground there too.
Listen, if we can get a decent goaltender, it could be over right here with who we got on.
That's
this
a big
podcast.
signing for the Missin Curfew Hockey Club.
Maybe we'll
Mike
put Mac L through training camp.
We got to get him out the sauce. We got to get Mac L on Dry Island. Hey, Richie, man, you're welcome anytime. Once hockey gets going and things get back to normal, we appreciate it. Richie, can you chirp Flowers and tell me what you said at the start about the Stanley Cup?
About him touching the cup more than I have.
That was perfect. Thank you.
I was with CONZ, and when I listened to that, and CONZ had to walk out. I was cringing.
I literally, it's the only walkout. It's the only walkout in Action Park history, and it was me. I walked out.
Yeah.
I got in the car. These guys thought I was kidding.
The owner
They were like,
left.
"Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm home. I'm at home."
I can't keep up with this. But
Awesome, Richie. Well,
Awesome,
thank
Richie.
you, brother.
Thank you, buddy. You're a legend, man.
Yeah,
We
thanks
appreciate
for coming
it.
on.
Thank you,
thanks,
bud.
guys. Appreciate it.
See you, pal.
Up dog, Mike Richards.
Mike.
Big signing, CONZ to the Missin Curfew team. Our first signing.
He's
Huge.
dangerous.
Fucking Richard.
The team is dangerous, and he's playing
He's still
2 days a
skating
week.
Twice a week. He's going to be our go-to guy.
Cap-
Hey, so quick story. I heard you call him Richie Rick right at the
Rick,
beginning.
yeah,
you know why?
Richie.
So he comes to LA and there's two Richies.
Brad
right?
Richardson.
So he goes, I'll be Rick. And you know why he was Rick?
Why?
Me and Hartnell used to each have a buck hunter machine in our pads. Like we were fucking young and we're just like hunter, hunter hero. And you could only put 3 fucking letters in for your name. So I was UPY. Loops was LUP. And then Richie was RIC. So we just kept calling him Rick. It was like hilarious. But so it was a pleasure. He's a fucking champion.
Yeah.
I love the guy. Happy to see he's doing well
Doing
up in
great.
Kenora, and
Doing
fucking
great.
A.
That might
he's a legend.
scare the Chicklets guys, knowing that he's our starting first line center.
We're signing guys, so this is great. Broadway, what'd you think of Rich or Rick?
Matt, he is a guy that I would have loved to play for. Just you can tell just the way he cares about his teammates, and he's a winner. Another Stanley Cup champion on this podcast.
Another one.
Just all in all, he's just like tons of swag to him. Just like a nice, calm, cool, collected guy.
He seems happy too, doesn't he? Seems
On
happy.
and off ice.
Yeah, and
Hall of Fame.
that's what Carbomb said last week about him. Just his presence he had, and you can still see it today. Yeah, so he's happy catching monster fish.
Yeah.
He's a 7 handicap con, so he's working on his game too, just like you.
Yeah, well, he's a ways ahead of me.
Anyways, boys, like always, thank you, Uppy Cons, Jimmy Scoops. Until next week, thanks for listening.
Come on. I wouldn't change you if I could. I wouldn't change you if I could. I wouldn't change you if I could.
You can't understand, we be Waikiki, shipping DP to the TV, look greedy. Little kids see me way out in DC with a Z3 Chrome BBs. They wanna be me. Niggas talking shit, they ought to quit. Unfortunate, they don't see a fault what I get.